If you want to know what high school calculus is like, it's basically the same as drinking a bottle of the last dab Apollo and not having anything to stop the excruciating pain for 40 weeks straight. I was a senior when I took high school calculus. Some students who were math wizards could take it either a year or two earlier, depending on how much they knew about math. There were two versions of calculus that my school offered. They were AB and BC. AB is one college semester worth of calculus, while BC is 2 semesters worth. Before deciding which to choose, our pre-calculus teachers would give us recommendations on what math class to take the following year based on our grades from the first semester. My pre-calculus teacher in particular would recommend those who got an A- or higher, BC, a B- or higher, AB, and for those who scored lower than a B-, something else. If I recall, I had a B in the first semester, but guess who didn't go by her recommendation and chose to do BC instead? You! Thanks, Captain Obvious. By the way, I'm trying to hit 500 subs before the release of Spider-Man 2, so if you haven't done so already, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on awesome content. I knew beforehand that I was going to suck at Calculus BC, so I decided to spend part of the summer online learning such topics, but I only got as far as limits and continuity, and that's not even an hour's worth of material. I remember telling people I was going to take Calculus BC that year, and every single person who took it before said, "Just do the homework and you'll be fine." Oh boy, that helps. Here comes the first day of class, which was just an introduction to what Calculus BC is going to be like, and that was pretty much it. The second day was when we started learning the material, and by then, I was drowning in confusion. The grading for the class for my school was divided by 3 things: 20% homework and quizzes, 10% problem sessions, and 70% tests. For homework, they basically gave you a calendar for each unit, and on each day, they would tell you which problems to do out of the textbook. If you've done them all, you would stamp that day on your calendar. At the end of the unit, you'd basically staple all of your homework assignments together with the calendar, and the teacher would check to see if you actually did them. They're not checking necessarily for accuracy, they're checking to see if you've actually made any serious attempts to solve the questions, even if they were clearly wrong. Quizzes, on the other hand, had 3 or 4 problems, and sometimes you would work individually, while other times you would work in a team. I remember we had one quiz that was team-based, and my teammates and I got into a huge disagreement over how a problem was done. I thought it was supposed to be done one way, while my other teammates said it was to be done another. When we got our results back, I got a lower grade than them, and it was because they did the particular problem right and I didn't. Problem sessions were basically the same as quizzes, except you're given only one problem, and they're always done individually. I always hated problem sessions, even with how low they were counted for. Tests were like a reduced version of the AP exam, which solely covered questions based on the unit. 2/3 of the test were free response questions, and the other third were multiple choice questions. Before taking high school calculus, I rarely, if ever, had testing anxiety. But when I took it, I would have it on every single test day. How they grade the tests in high school calculus, or at least for my school, is they tell you how many parts of the test you got wrong, and that determines your grade. I said parts instead of answers because you could get the answer wrong and still have correct parts to solving a problem. And you could get the correct answer to a problem and still have done the work wrong. The day after each test, at the front of the class, they would display the number of students who missed a certain number of parts, show the potential threshold of pass and fail for the test, and after a few days, they would adjust the scores per how students did. For the first test, I got a score that resulted in a C, and was like, okay, whatever. When my teacher gave me back my results for the second test, which resulted in a D, she said, "Come talk to me after class." When I went to go talk to her, she suggested that I drop down to AB, but I was too determined to pass this class. Eventually, I did better on the next test, but I still had my struggles along the way. For the end of the first semester, I made a C. I remember taking the final exam and was so confident that I passed, but ended up getting a D. And for the first test I took after the winter break, my score resulted in an F. I remember the look in my teacher's eyes when she handed my test back. They were like, "You should have dropped down to AB when you had the chance." The following test, I remember having so much anxiety that I almost blanked out. But something in me clicked and said, "You can do it! I know you can!" So I took the test, and the following day, my teacher handed my results back and said, "You did a lot better this time, Henry." I ended up getting a B. I remember having that feeling of accomplishment like I solved the Raman hypothesis. For the rest of the year, I got C's on the remaining tests. Along comes the AP exam. They gave us a practice exam beforehand, but that did little to help me calm my nerves. I ended up getting a 3. After the AP test, we practically did nothing other than take the semester final, which I got a C on. They didn't prepare us for the semester final since a lot of people in my class were exempt from taking it, but I unfortunately wasn't among the exempt. I finished the class with a C, and honestly, I wasn't too upset given how excruciatingly difficult that class was. Would I take back what I experienced in high school calculus? No. Despite my less than pleasant experience, it served me well in the long run, especially for college. And for those of you who are going to take high school calculus anytime soon, I have one simple tip for you. Just do the homework and you'll be fine.